Welcome to Admirals of the Irish. Mr. Lynn, an excise officer, checking if everything was in order inside Malone's bonded warehouse, eventually left at 4:45 p.m. and locked up the premises. From the time Mr. Lynn left, fire was seen between 8 or 8:30 p.m. and it was seen over Cork Street, Ardee Street, and Chambers Street. The fire brigade at William Street was alerted and the police were notified. When the fire brigade arrived, they saw a fire they had never faced before. Some people suspected the fire originated in Reed's Mod House, but Ingram wrote in his annual report after the fire it originated in Malone's warehouse. Witnesses of the fire record seeing a stream of burning liquid coming from Malone's warehouse, and this burning liquid was whiskey. And more was leaking from the barrels because of the inferno, and an explosion erupted. There were 1,800 barrels of whiskey, each barrel containing 70 gallons. In total, 126,000 gallons of whiskey, but in liter terms, 570,000. Other reports from newspapers mentioned it was 5,000 barrels, which included casks of wine and brandy. While the explosions continued, so was the blue flaming whiskey streaming from Malone's bonded warehouse to Chambers Street and Cork Street and continued around the corner to Ardee Street. At this time, Reed's malt house was burning to the ground, and so would the tannery and stables of Watkins Brewery, which the brewery itself was protected from the whiskey fire because of the brewery gates, but other buildings around it, like tenements houses, were not so lucky. One eyewitness described the flow of whiskey as a burning flood, while another described it as a sea of lava. The whiskey entered every courtyard, laneway, and doorway. The fire consumed every adjoined building in the vicinity of the Malone bonded warehouse. People tried to save as little of their things as much as possible, but in some cases, people tried to save their furniture by having it thrown out of the window and other possessions that get smashed on the ground or the whiskey fire goes through it. A pub around the corner of Ardee Street, owned by Lawrence Fitzsimmons, was bereft when his pub was burned. In Chambers Street, the lava flood burned down a house which was holding a wake with the body inside it, but the body was removed to a safe place. But it was abandoned because the mourners joined the crowd to look at this lava flood and the fire. As the fire continued burning, other kinds of chaos were mixed in. Pigs, horses, dogs, ponies were trying to find refuge from the fire. A stable by Mr. Miranda, horses were released in Cork Street, and the leading horse went into the whiskey fire, but with the pain it got itself in by literally running into the streaming liquid, the horse ran down Ardee Street, filled by other animals. While in Ormond Street, the fire was spreading rapidly to the Carmelite convent, but it was protected, not by a wall or a gate, but by a breeze of wind. At the time, the maternity hospital was undergoing work, and the side of the hospital had wooden scaffolding, which started to burn. The workmen who were helping the firemen to deal with the fire started to climb the scaffolding to cut the scaffolding away so the hospital wouldn't burn. The whiskey even managed to get underground in the sewers through the Puddle River, and didn't took long till there was sound of explosions underground, since the whiskey with the fire on it going through sewers that had gas, and Malone's warehouse was still being burned with its own explosions continuing with casks of whiskey in the warehouse. The bystanders reported it was as if artillery barrages were happening. That is all for today. I see you in the final part, part 3, next time. Slán in ish.